In this section, we are going to look at another format of a quadratic equation. This format is called vertex form. And the reason it's called vertex form is it's extremely easy to find the vertex. So recall from the last lesson, standard form, you had this formula here. You had to figure out the x-coordinate, negative b over 2a. Then you had to plug it in and calculate the y value. Vertex form, the numbers are right in front of you. You just have to recognize it. So notice the format here in the form of y equals a, there's your a value, and then parentheses x minus h squared plus k. So your vertex is the ordered pair of h comma k. So the number in place of h and the number in place of k is going to be your vertex. Now, your axis of symmetry is still the same thing. It's still x equals, and so it's going to equal the x-coordinate of the vertex. So whatever the h value is in your vertex, that goes with your axis of symmetry. Okay, now there's one potential tricky area here. I want you to notice how there's a negative sign in front of the h. So if this said x minus 2, the number 2 is my h value, not negative 2. So you want to see a negative here in the format. This is the number you will take. And then whatever this is, positive or negative, will be the value of k. All right, so there's 3 examples below. Let's practice that. We're going to state the vertex and the axis of symmetry, and then I have us circling some items. So here's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to rewrite the format under these first couple problems. A times x minus h squared plus 1. Now let's do the circling. So this is still opening up or down based on the a value. All right, so since my a is negative 2, a negative will make it open down. Since it's opening down, it'll look like that. The vertex is at the top, so the vertex is at a max, and the number 2 makes it narrower. So when the number is bigger than 1, it gets more narrow. Okay, so here's my vertex. So I see h, it says minus h, and I see minus 5. So my vertex is just the number 5, not negative 5. When I look at my k value, I have plus 1. That's going to be my the y value of my vertex is 1. Oh shoot, I meant to write, let me see, let me fix this over here. I meant to write plus k. All right, there we go. All right, so sometimes I hear students say, so are you telling me that the vertex, the x-coordinate of the vertex is the opposite sign in the parentheses? And yeah, if you want to think of it that way, you can. But I'm looking, if I have a minus sign here, I just grab the number that is next. All right. Now, your axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 5 because that is the x-coordinate of the vertex. Okay, number 2. I'm going to write the formula underneath it. Y equals 1/2. Or actually, no. Yeah, let me change my mind here. I'm going to write it above here. So y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So I want you to see this plus sign right here. So I'm going to rewrite the equation and make that say negative. So I'm going to rewrite it as 1/2 times x minus negative 2 squared minus 2. And so what I want you to see is, here's my minus sign, but the number is a negative 2, which is the h value. Okay, so again, do I just make this the opposite sign? Yeah, you could think of it that way. So your vertex is going to be negative 2, and then your k value out here just also happens to be negative 2. So negative 2, negative 2. Of course, that makes our axis of symmetry x equals negative 2. Okay, so circling up or down, min, max. I see a positive a value, it's opening up. So if it's opening up, the vertex is at the bottom at the minimum. And 1/2 will make it wider. Okay, second or third one over. So this is x plus 1. So remember, your h value is not 1, your h value is actually -1, and then your k value is -3. So whatever it is outside your parentheses is the same. See how it just says plus k? So if it said minus k, I would use it plus k. But when this is minus h, I'm trying to get at what that h value is. Axis of symmetry, x equals -1. Okay, so your a value is 1 out here. So it's opening up, positive number. The vertex then is at a minimum. And it's the same because your parent function is y equals x squared, so that a value is 1. All right, now we're going to bring the vertex in and do our graphing. So the graphing, the only difference in graphing in vertex form is how you start the problem. So we're going to find the vertex and the equation for the axis of symmetry. We're going to graph it by plotting additional points using symmetry. We're going to make a table of values and then do domain and range. Okay, so I'm going to start with vertex. So when I see here that it says x minus 1, I can grab the 1 as my h value, and then it says 1 on the outside, so 1, 1 looks like our vertex. X equals 1. All right, put your vertex in the middle, 1, 1, and then I'm gonna go down by 1 to get 2 below. So that would be 0, -1, and then go back to 1, 2, 3. All right, so here's what I would do. I would use your calculator if you want, and I'm gonna write on the graph and then erase it. So I would, let's start at the bottom here. Let's start at 3. So you're going to take your calculator and I would do it just how it's written. So you're going to plug your 3 in for x, and then the rest of the equation says -1 squared plus 1. You could literally just type that into your calculator if you want, or you can simplify it and do the math along the way. So this would actually be 2 squared plus 1, which is 4. And then we get 5, okay? Or, like I said, you can go back here, just plug it in, and we're gonna get 5. Okay, so I'm gonna erase that. And so I want you to pause the video and fill the rest of these y values in, and then we can check. And so if you're having questions on matching the table with me, let's talk about that. Okay, so you should have gotten a 2 when you plug in a 2, and then these two will be the same, okay, because it's symmetrical. I'm going to go back to my circling. I skipped it. So since my a value is 1, opening up, the vertex will be at the bottom, so it's a minimum, and it should be the same. Okay, let's graph. So -1, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0, 2. 1, 1. 2, 2. So now it's going back up. I'm going to do my U, put arrows on the end. So it reinforces what I circled. It's opening up. The vertex is at the bottom at the minimum, and it's the same. Now, I did forget to give you blanks for domain and range. Okay, so let's just add them here. I'll just write where we didn't need the graph. Domain, range. Okay, domain is just -infinity to +infinity. Okay, now remember your range. So the bottom of the parabola is right here, and it corresponds to 1 on the y. So the smallest y value is 1, and it's going up forever. So smallest y value is bracket 1, going up to infinity forever, so I have a parenthesis. Okay, will you guys pause the video and try number 2, or actually I guess number 5. Try the second graphing. All right, I have a vertex. It's a -3, so remember, change that +3 to minus, and then -4. Get rid of that dot, -4. So axis of symmetry is x equals -3. And then we can make our t-chart. So negative 3, 4. So then minus 1 would be negative 4, negative 5, and then add 1 would be negative 2, negative 1. Now I do get some decimals here, which is fine. So here's what I get in my table. Let me just forget my y over here. So on my table, I'm going to have negative 5.3, and I just rounded it to the nearest tenth because you're going to have to estimate your graph here. So negative 4.3, negative 5.3. And then our circling, the A value is negative 1/3. So it's opening down. The vertex is at the top, so at a maximum. And it'll be a little bit wider because it's the number 1/3. All right, let's graph. Okay, negative 5, negative 5.3. So go to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just a little bit below it, about right there. Okay, negative 4, negative 4.3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just a touch below it. And then negative 3, 4. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I made a mistake in my table. I wrote negative 4 right here, but I didn't put a negative sign. Let me fix that. And I kind of noticed that because it didn't make sense that I was getting negatives on my y's right here and then positive. So I just forgot to include it. All right, so negative 3, negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go back to purple. And then negative 2, negative 4.3, and then negative 1, negative 5.3. So see, there's the symmetrical look. And so it'll end up being a little bit wider here. Okay, put arrows on it. And so it opened down. It's a little wider. I see the maximum. All right, so let's do domain and range. So wherever you have some room, go ahead and write out those words. And then, of course, domain for all quadratics is always negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay. My parabola is topping out here, and this is negative 4. So the smallest number is down here in negative infinity. It goes up to negative 4 and stops. So small number is parenthesis negative infinity. Large number is negative 4, and you want to bracket there. Okay, so the graphing is identical to standard form. We just start differently with Vertex. All right, let's go to the next page. We have one more set of examples where we are going to switch gears from graphing, and we're going to write an equation. All right, we are going to write an equation in Vertex form here, in the form y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. All right, so I want you to recopy that over to the side. We're going to plug into this format. Y equals a parentheses x minus h squared plus k. Okay, so if you think about hk, that is your vertex. So if I look at my picture, I'm going to put a dot right here. I know that's the vertex. All right, so that is ordered pair. That's at negative 2, positive 8. So that is my h and my k. And then this point over here, there's an x and a y in my equation. That any ordered pair is just my x and my y. So I'm going to plug these 4 numbers in here to this equation, and a will be the only variable left over. That's what I'm solving for. Okay, so let's do y equals. So y is 6. I don't know a. Leave it as a. Parentheses. Now x is negative 4. Write down the minus sign. H is negative 2. Close your parentheses squared. The k value is positive 8, so plus 8. Okay, so I'm going to simplify. I'm going to simplify right here. So 6 is equal to a times. So negative 4 minus negative 2, I'm going to come through and make those both pluses. So that's a negative 2. Now I'm going to square negative 2. So 6 equals a times 4 plus 8. Now, we always write the number in front of the variable. So I'm going to switch that around to 4a. So 6 equals 4a plus 8. Now let's just solve for a. Okay, so let's come through here. Let's take away 8 from both sides. So that will give me a -2 equals 4a. And then keep going for solving for a. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. Okay, -2/4 reduces to -1/2. It's not going to be -2. If it said 4 divided by 2, that's when we get 2, but it's -2/4. All right, so I'm going to plug this in. So my goal here, if we go back to the directions, we're writing an equation. So I'm going to rewrite this format. Only this time, I know the a is -1/2. I need x and y in my equation, but I'm going to plug numbers in for h here and k here. So let's come over here. So I'm going to have y equals a, and then parentheses, x minus, your h is -2, and then plus k, and our k value is 8. Now, I don't want to leave it like this. I want to clean that up just a little bit. So I will make those double negatives be positive. So y equals -1/2 times x plus 2 squared plus 8. And that is your equation. Okay, so you have you're going to have 4 values you can plug in, and then you're going to solve for a, and then re-plug everything back in. Okay, I want you to try the last one. Pause the video here, work through number 7, and then come back and you can check your answer. Okay, I'm going to plug everything in. So I'm going to have 5 equals a times 2 minus h is 1 squared. K is 3. Okay, 2 minus 1, I'm going to do that next. So 5 equals a times 1 squared plus 3. Well, 1 squared is just 1. So if you think about it, you have this. But think about this. This is just a times 1, which is just 1a or just a. So we could actually just simplify it to this. And then now we're just going to solve. This is going to be a pretty quick solve here. So solve for a. Okay, so take away your 3. So I get 2. So remember, I'm going to plug everything back in and then complete my equation. So my equation will read y equals, my a value is now 2. I want x and y to stay as letters. So now plug in h and k. So x minus h, so it's going to be x minus 1, and then plus 3. And I don't need to simplify, ooh, I forgot my squared. I don't need to simplify anything else because I don't have any double negatives. So that's my final equation. Okay, well that wraps up vertex form. As always, if you have questions,